As we approach an era of UFO disclosure and an evolved shift in consciousness, such as universal spirituality or altered states of ascension, both through experienced meditative practice, it is important to understand their relationship. The type of UFO, or UAP, that is highlighted here is not that of the saucer craft made notorious from the Roswell event or other sightings and testimonies, nor are the inhabitants of those crafts, commonly referred to as the Greys, the focus herein. Instead, we are dealing with the glowing crafts that appear like luminous orb-like stars, whose precise shape is difficult to discern. They sometimes are witnessed alone, but commonly are seen in groups, and sometimes demonstrating coordinated displays, as shown in this video and this still frame. The inhabitants of these UAP are the gods described in religious texts and artistic depictions. In this Buddhist representation, we see a primary figurehead in the center. Because of its prominence, we can liken him to the top center UAP, the larger glowing sphere. Now, shifting our focus to the top of the image, we see 5 individuals and white lines that have both downwards and sideways movements, much like the video a few moments ago. The figurehead is the hierarchical leader of the group, the captain of the main ship that the individual craft emerge from. Above the 5 individuals, there's a bright light that merely represents the same primary figurehead, but at a different scale. The other 2 individuals who flank the 5 represent their descent towards the Earth. This part of the main ship represents the aperture through which the individual UAPs travel, as they exit and enter it. We also see that the individual gods land on the ground. Notice that the base of the main ship is a square, with a circular configuration of repeating wavy geometries, similar to flower petals. This work depicts the same representation and adds additional detail to the aperture. There are many colored UAP spheres that emerge from the figurehead's ship. As shown above, the individual gods who operate their own UAPs have a color associated with them. Although we only see them as glowing white lights in the sky, the colors may represent individual character traits among them. The Sri Yantra is a depiction of the primary ship but viewed from above. There is a square base with the same circular wavy petal imagery that is at the base of the figurehead's ship. In the center, we see a representation of a rapidly spinning Merkaba, where the inverted prisms spin in opposing directions. This image shows the Merkaba without motion, and we see there is a relationship the individual within it has with it. From this view, it is representative of the Star of David, which therefore links Buddhism to Judaism. The figure in the center is in a posture that represents movement, given the bend of the body and location of the arms, which suggests some form of movement is associated with the Merkaba. We now also link Hinduism when we see the various gods with multiple arms. An effective way to represent the dynamism of motion is to show the object in multiple positions. The many heads to the left is not to suggest the god is multi-headed, but that the head is in rapid motion. The movement of arms is so fast at times that many arms are graphically depicted. The gods are within the UAP that we see in the skies. The imagery is represented by a shining brilliance. This powerful information is also graphically represented by angel personalities with wings and golden glowing brilliance behind the head. Here, the arms indicate movement, and the luminescent halo indicates there is a mental component at play as well, perhaps a form of telekinesis or telepathy. The rapid movement of the head, either side to side or in a figure 8, makes the pineal gland oscillate in space, which is picked up in the ether like an ignition system. This is the starting point for accessing supernatural energy. Christianity is linked with Hinduism, Buddhism, and Judaism when we examine this type of art. Here again, we see a sense of shining brilliance, along with rapid rotation, as shown at left. The multi-headed winged creature represents both movement and flight. The 2 figures are linked in one radiant glow because the complex concept cannot be represented more simply. In the background, we see a shining palace, and information is given to man by the gods. A similar shining palace is seen behind Lord Shiva. He is also providing a vast amount of information in this depiction. The snake around his neck indicates that his spine moves in a wave-like sinusoidal fashion, and the snake is associated with the great Kundalini energy. The small snake at the top of his head indicates that the head also moves in a wavy pattern, but perhaps to a lesser degree after pineal gland ignition. The radiant sacred heart demonstrates this by the double waveform that wraps around it. The heart is the fulcrum of a teetering motion that presents as an up and down alternating movement of the shoulders. This motion, with emphasis on the heart as the epicenter, puts the spine in a snake-like sinusoidal motion. We therefore have an energy that is represented by spheres, one large one with the heart at the center and one smaller one with the pineal gland at the center. The brilliant spine in his head represents how we see him when he is in his UAP craft in the sky. The palace in the background is the landed main ship that contains the group of gods. The Vimana is described in Hindu literature as a flying palace. We see a clear hierarchy of levels with a well-defined base. There are many individual gods within it, which are comprised of groups. We see here clusters of beings with central figures, and they are all arranged to give importance to several beings, one in the center and several at the top. The square base is evident, with a great deal of energy in the center. There is a sense of departure from the group as individual UAP depart from the main ship, where there is a leader for each cluster. Sometimes they demonstrate themselves to us in an orchestrated manner, and other times they simply move about in their clustered group. Although we as humans lack the technology of the gods, and lack the biological component of an enlarged pineal gland with an advanced brain, if such biology is required, we nonetheless have been given instructions by the gods who interacted with us long ago, in the time before we developed advanced weaponry and began trying to shoot down their UAP crafts in an effort to acquire their tangible technology. Those of us who are peaceful can meditate according to their instructions and psychically unite with an individual god who is aware of our efforts. Our guardian angel will see us as we ignite our pineal gland using a gentle head movement like an infinity symbol. We engage a sinusoidal wave movement of the spine by teetering our shoulders with our heart as the fulcrum. Envision our spinning Merkaba around us with a luminescent glow about both our heart and pineal gland. Believe that we are recognized for our efforts as we send a sinusoidal beam of light through our illuminated chakras skyward towards the heavens. The gods are waiting for us to engage with them peacefully again.